Hi, my name is Frank Schaeffer. I grew up as the son of an evangelical leader, Francis Schaeffer, credited with being one of the founders of the religious right. It's from that perspective, and having fled that background because of its intolerance and bigotry, that I note that the U.S. Supreme Court is so dysfunctional at this point that it might as well be discounted altogether as a branch of the U.S. government. We have someone who is credibly accused of being a sexual pervert married to someone called Ginni, and Ginni Thomas is now clearly been implicated as one of the insurrectionists who not only advocated the riots before the storming of the Capitol and was part of the meetings leading up to those, though later in a panic she said she wasn't actually in the riot, but much bigger than that, wrote to Mark Meadows urging him to overturn a fair and free election, literally in the same way that Vladimir Putin overturns elections in Russia when anyone doesn't do him the favor of voting for him. That fact alone would have meant that Clarence Thomas resigned from the court long ago, but he hasn't. We, the American people, need to understand the Supreme Court has been taken over by far-right Christian nationalist cranks that come right up against the kind of conspiracy theories that have been peddled on the far right and have embraced them. They regard Donald Trump as a divinely appointed leader that somehow nothing as trivial as election should undermine. Ginni Thomas is a threat to democracy, and the fact that Clarence Thomas is still on the court is a scandal. As someone who comes from that background, I'm surprised that even evangelicals go along with the wife of a Supreme Court justice, going on many speaking trips around the country and working feverishly to not only undermine a democratic election in the United States and attack the U.S. Constitution as a genuine revolutionary against our democracy in favor of theocracy that would make America much more like Saudi Arabia, where the royal family is never elected, simply passes their leadership from one generation to another and is supported by the Wahhabist imams and their version of Islam, their brutal version of Islam. The United States is a democracy. It is a scandal and an indictment of the rest of our passivity that something like this is even possible. And the fact that Brett Kavanaugh, also credibly accused in his case of rape, and Amy Coney Barrett, who grew up in a weird evangelical / Roman Catholic far-right sect that was credibly accused of manipulating its people like a cult and making them into handmaidens, very much like The Handmaid's Tale. This is getting to a point that it's beyond belief. So I can just say today that, to me, the Supreme Court is so utterly discredited that in a way it should just be banned as a branch of government. It is nothing more than a rubber stamp, not just for the Republican Party, but the Supreme Court. Basically, the majority on the court now are shills for a far-right Christian nationalist movement that seeks to turn America into a theocracy. And Ginni Thomas is one of them. Last point, we're in the middle of a war in which the Ukraine is defending itself against Vladimir Putin, who is putting quotes by Tucker Carlson on Russian television supporting his position in a culture war where he is trying to roll back what is left of gay rights in Russia, speaks against liberal democracy. And Tucker Carlson, Ginni Thomas, all these other people are part of that problem. We have our own would-be Vladimir Putins right here in America. One of them is Ginni Thomas. One of them is her husband, Clarence. Another is Amy Coney Barrett. Another is Brett Kavanaugh. These people are not Americans. They are authoritarian, far-right Christian nationalists who want to turn our country into something much more like Vladimir Putin's Russia. Me, personally, having come from that background, I understand them too well. Where has the media been? Why am I only now seeing articles about Ginni Thomas telling the truth after these papers come to light? Why haven't they been telling this story for the last 30 years? You know, if we don't draw the line soon, we're going to wake up one morning and our democracy will be gone. Voter rights are already being attacked everywhere and pushed back. Ginni Thomas is not the exception, she is the norm. That is what evangelicalism is these days. It is a far-right conspiracy theorist movement based on absolute lies that has embraced Donald Trump as God's gift to America to bring it, quote, back to Christianity, by which they mean rescinding democracy, because democracy includes people who are also, quote, God forbid, secularists. It is time we stand up and be counted and call the Supreme Court what it is: a radicalized offshoot of a far-right movement that is totally discredited, is absolutely immoral, and morally speaking, and even politically speaking, comes from exactly the same place that Vladimir Putin comes from: backward intolerance. My name is Frank Schaeffer.